There was a point in my life where I wasn't suicidal, but also wasn't living. I didn't want everything to end. I just wanted everything to stop. The noise in my head, the pressure in my chest, the constant feeling that I was falling behind in a race no one explained the rules to. Nights were the worst, not because anything happened, but because nothing distracted me. When the world went quiet, my thoughts got louder. Every mistake I'd ever made lined up neatly in my head and took turns reminding me why I felt stuck. I'd scroll for hours, not even enjoying it, just consuming noise so I wouldn't have to sit with myself. Because sitting with myself, it meant asking questions I was afraid to answer. Like, when did I stop believing in my own future? And why did giving up feel easier than trying again? I remember looking at myself in the mirror and feeling nothing. No anger, no sadness, just distance. Like I was watching someone else live my life. Someone who looked like me, sounded like me, but had lost whatever spark used to drive them forward. I didn't talk about it, not because I was strong, but because I didn't know how to explain a pain that didn't have a clear reason. How do you tell someone you feel empty when your life looks fine from the outside? Even around others, I felt detached. I laughed at the right moments, nodded at the right times, played the role well enough that no one questioned it. But inside, I felt like an observer, watching people live lives I didn't feel connected to anymore. I walked a lot during that time, not to clear my head, but because staying still felt unbearable. Movement was the only thing that stopped my thoughts from closing in on me completely. Each step felt like proof that I was still here, even when I wasn't sure why. There was anger too, quiet anger, unexpressed anger, at myself for not being where I thought I should be, at life for not turning out the way I imagined, at the version of me that used to dream so freely and somehow disappeared. Morning didn't feel like a fresh start. It felt like a reset of the same weight. Another day to carry expectations I didn't choose. Another day of pretending I was okay when I wasn't even sure who okay was anymore. At my lowest, the scariest thought wasn't failure, it was this. If nothing changes, this might be my life forever. That thought didn't come with panic. It came with a heavy, quiet acceptance. And that's when I knew something was wrong. I realized I wasn't falling apart. I was slowly disappearing. Not dramatically, no one's noticed, just one ignored feeling at a time, one postponed dream at a time, until there was barely anything left to fight for. I had postponed my life, waiting to feel ready, waiting for confidence, waiting for clarity, waiting for permission, but readiness never came. And the cost of waiting was becoming heavier than the fear of failing. So one morning, I stopped running from the discomfort. I didn't feel motivated. I didn't feel hopeful. I just felt tired of lying to myself. And for the first time, that honesty felt grounding, even if it hurt. I admitted things I'd been avoiding, that I was scared, that I felt lost, that I didn't trust myself anymore. Not to anyone else, just to myself. And strangely, that made the weight feel lighter. I stopped asking big questions about purpose and meaning. Instead, I asked smaller ones. What can I handle today? What feels honest right now? What would be slightly better than nothing? Those questions didn't save me, but they kept me alive. I rebuilt trust with myself through action, not dramatic action, unimpressive action. Showing up when I didn't feel like it, doing things without waiting to feel inspired. That's where strength actually comes from. Not confidence, but consistency. Silence stopped being the enemy. I learned how much truth lives there. How much of my pain wasn't trying to destroy me, it was trying to tell me something I'd ignored for years. I didn't suddenly become happy, but I became present. And presence is dangerous because once you see your life clearly, you can't pretend you don't know what needs to change. I realized I wasn't broken, I was misaligned, living a life that looked acceptable but didn't feel true. And that kind of disconnect slowly kills you, quietly, politely, over time. Change didn't come with confidence, it came with discomfort, with fear, with doubt, with moments where quitting still felt tempting. But staying the same hurt more. I stopped trying to become someone else. I started returning to myself, the version of me before the world taught me to shrink, before I learned to play safe instead of honest. Peace didn't arrive as happiness, it arrived as stability, as being able to sit with myself without needing distraction, without needing escape. That was new. I found pride in surviving things no one clapped for, in holding on during nights no one saw, in choosing to stay even when leaving felt easier. And something unexpected happened. My pain gave me depth, awareness, the ability to see others clearly. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but I wouldn't erase it either. I learned that healing isn't about becoming fearless, it's about moving forward while fear walks beside you. The future stopped feeling like a threat. It became a space I could grow into at my own pace. If you're listening to this and something inside you feels heavy, please understand this. You're not weak, you're aware, and awareness is the first crack in the wall. This darkness you're in, it's not punishment, it's not failure, it's information. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep choosing honesty over comfort. That's where the real change begins. I didn't rebuild my life overnight. I rebuilt my relationship with myself, and that changed everything.